Hey kids, today we are looking at Georifters. Presently on sale for $1.99, normally $29.99. So, quite a bit off from that. Looks like 93% for the next, well, that sale's good until the 26th of February 2024. So, let's take a quick read through their description of this game. Manipulate the ground for victory, for honor, and for shiny crystals. Steal the ground right from under your enemies or yourself. In Georifters, you can spin walls, twist tunnels, crush critters, battle against the ground or with it. It can be your tool or a weapon you use to smash others in a series of fast-paced, ground-bursting arenas. So, originally released September 18th, 2020, single system 1 to 4 players, action party adventure puzzle from Leofol. Rated E for everyone. Supports all 3 play modes. It is 3.1 gigs. And it is in English, French, German, Italian, Japanese, Portuguese, and Spanish. So, now that we have the vitals on this, oh dear God, it's MODOK from Ant-Man. Oh, what the hell? Okay. I'll get that disturbing visage out of my gaze here. So, yeah, it's a platformer where you push, shove the ground panels around to collect all of the crystals and then exit on to the next level. At least in the one-player mode, which, of course, we all know is the only way I play because I don't have friends or family that is willing to play this stuff with me. So, first thing I have to do is just mention, yes, the last video had a watermark across it. It has been part of a 4-year-long bit of me being this old senile guy who doesn't understand how technology works. I'm done doing that little social experiment, and I am going to abandon that character. So hopefully I'm done with just the silliness of this channel. And even though the reviews were always real, the character being played wasn't. So, in this case, yes, I know it was just a tribute to leaving that all behind. And yes, I do edit this on Movavi, and not sponsored. It just happens to be a really easy, quick tool to use to put videos together with a fair amount of polish, even if you do not like the speed at which all of those videos run. So, graphically, I like this. It is bright, it is colorful. It doesn't do a lot in the creative side of things. But it is, on the other hand, really bright, really colorful. The movement is smooth, although there are areas where slowdown occurs. And I'm not sure if it's intentional by the developers as some kind of Schneider-esque tribute. But because of those slowdowns, I'm going to give it a 17. It interrupts the gameplay. Plus, honestly speaking, the visage of your mentor here is just disturbing. It is the thing of nightmare fuels that I will never get over. It will haunt me until I die. Which, I mean, ultimately, let's face it, none of us are getting off this rock alive. So we might as well not be haunted by bad CGI, MODOK-looking bastards in video games. So yeah, graphically, it's a 17. As we look at sound, it's basically non-offensive. You already know that. That's my baseline. It's a 15. But I'm going to give them a bump up. I like some of the sound effects. I like just some of the ambient noises that are going on. When we get to them here in this video, the butt flies are workable. So I will give sound a 16. Controls. And yes, the controls do control the character. There's not a lot of lag behind it. And even though I am doing this with an extreme amount of fluidity for the video, the learning curve on how best to do those jump punches and stuff, that took some time, kind of took me out of the moment of the game. And unfortunately, yeah, the controls are going to get a 16 as well. That brings us up to 49, assuming that I can actually do math, which has not been an act. I actually suck at math. The simpler maths, the balancing the checkbook, that type of stuff. You give me a probability and statistics issue, I've got it in my head. I can do those calculations. I struggle to add double-digit numbers together. And unfortunately, due to my age, sometimes I forget. But not all that often. As we look at gameplay, gameplay is unique. It is a platformer, but it does remind me of a lot of the games I used to play growing up on the Commodore 64, because you basically have a single map that you have to go through, collect the pieces of, figure out how do you move around the ground pieces, how do you punch, or do you reverse the ground back into its original position. So there's a fair amount of depth to the game, and even though there's a story, I have basically chosen to ignore the story of this. So what do I think of the actual, what you're doing in the game? I'm going to give it a 17. It is fun and to some degree a little bit challenging, not terribly difficult, but it is kind of a compelling gameplay that is unique. So yeah, they get a 17. Now, as we are talking about value, this game is normally $29.99. So, higher cost budget title, especially since I do not believe it's got a physical release. I could be wrong there, I don't know. Didn't bother to look it up because I bought it digitally. $29.99 is going to be a lot to spend on this. This is really, it's got this artistic aesthetic and the simplified gameplay of a game that you would buy a younger Switch user. But that's for the trip, and if they ever play it again after they're done with it in the backseat of the car for a couple of hours, you're going to be okay, because as a parent, you got them not to be quiet so that you could listen to Barry Manilow or whatever it is that you were listening to in the radio. Barry is just what my parents used to play on the 8-track tape deck. That said, at $1.99 on the eShop now for until basically the end of February, it's a good value game. It's not great. You're probably not going to come back to it. Your kids are probably going to get bored of it pretty easily. But yeah, I'm going to give value a 17 for a grand total of 83. If this looks interesting to you, go out and buy it. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. Make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment, ring the bell, share it with all your friends on X or whatever. It's all good for the algorithm, and it helps grow the show. So, thank you.